Let me first give all praise and all honor to the God of my ancestors, the God of Africa, the Almighty Amen Ra. This is your brother Radio 1 coming back at you again with another video of truth and historical reality. Now the name of this video is Harriet Tubman Rebelled against the God of the Bible and defeated him. Yes, that's what we're going to be talking about today. But let me first say that it amazes me how so many of you Negroes are still lost today. Yes, so many of you Negroes today are still lost. You're still delusional. You're still a slave to the Bible. You're still a slave to the white man. Yes, and some of you are a slave to the white man's science. We are living in a time where black people should be rebelling against white supremacy. But you Negroes are still cooning. Yes, Negro cooning is at an all-time high today. We have more Negro coons than ever today. Yes. We got you black women, okay, or you swirlers, sleeping in the bed with the white man. Sleeping in the bed with your former slave master, or should I say, your present slave master. Selling out, cooning. Got you black Negro sissies, okay? You faggots. Sleeping in the bed with the white man. Getting down on your knees and pleasing the white man. Like a weak, sissified slave. Yes. But then you want to see me with my ark. And me right here, okay, I'm right here. I'm showing my face. I'm speaking my mind. But you want to see me and try to criticize me for keeping it real and telling the truth. I'm right here. I'm not afraid to wear my ark or my RBG flag. I'll wear it everywhere I go. I don't hide from my mom and dad. I wear it around them. They already know what's up. See, but many of you Negroes, you want to play like you're down. Okay? You want to play like you pro-black. You real black. But behind the scenes, you ain't nothing but a faggot coon. You ain't nothing but a sellout traitor coon. That's why you're afraid to wear the ankh. That's why you're afraid to wear the RBG flag. That's why you're afraid to speak your mind. Because you live in another identity on the other side. You don't want to upset your white masters. You don't want to upset your good Christian friends. I'm right here. This is me, Radio 1. Got nothing to hide. But back to the subject. Yes, I just wanted to make that clear. Negro cooning is at an all-time high. Even some of you Negroes who claim to be pro-black. You're coons and you don't even know it. The Hebrew Israelites, okay? Especially you Bible followers. You're some of the biggest coons walking around. And you try to play like you're this pro-black type, which you're not. Many of you Negroes, you're coons and you don't even know it. Okay? If you're not pro-black, 100%, damn it, you're a coon. Simple as that. But let's get back to the subject. Now, this past weekend, I went to go see the Harriet movie. It is a movie based on Harriet Tubman. She was a slave who lived in the 1800s. And she rebelled against her slave masters. And she ran away. And after she ran away, she came back to free more slaves. Yes. But in that movie, there was one part in that movie where they were having a Sunday service, and the preacher, the black preacher, or the Negro preacher, okay, the Negro preacher was preaching to them. And he referenced a verse to them. And this was the verse he referenced to them. Okay? Okay, he referenced them. He said Colossians. He didn't give the chapter or the number, but this was the verse he referenced to them. Okay? And he quoted it from a different translation, but this is from the King James translation. Okay? And he said to them the verse that's in Colossians. Yes, it's Colossians. Colossians 3:22. And it says, servants, obey in all things your masters according, okay, let me start that over. Servants or slaves. Okay, servants or slaves. That's what. Servants, obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with eye service as man pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing God. Yes. So that's what he said to the slave masters. Okay? Okay, the same preacher who helped her get away on the movie, that gave her advice to get free, said this to the slaves when he was preaching to them. Servants, obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with eye service as man pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing God. But let's continue. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not unto men. Okay? Knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance. For ye serve the Lord Christ. But then it goes on to say, but he that doeth wrong shall receive the wrong which he hath done. And there is no respect of persons. Okay, did you hear that? He that doeth wrong shall receive the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respect of persons. So we see here, when Harriet Tubman ran away, she was going against God. Okay, the same God that said, obey in all things your masters and according to the service, okay, according to the flesh, not with eye service, but not as man pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing God. Okay, so those slaves who obeyed their master, stayed on the plantation, and did not rebel like Harriet Tubman did, was obeying this verse. They was obeying God. But Harriet Tubman went against this God when she ran away and rebelled. See, then he says, but he that doeth wrong shall receive the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respect of person. So when Harriet Tubman ran away, she was doing, verse 25, she was doing wrong. She went against God. And okay, we're going to leave it at that. Okay? So that means when she ran away, okay, she should not have been rewarded. She should not have got her freedom, but she should have been punished for her wrong. That's what it's saying in Colossians 3:25. She went against God. She got away. She rebelled. And we know in the movie that she was talking to God. God was guiding her to get free. So that leaves the question, which God she was talking to? Because it could have been the God of the Bible. It couldn't have been this God. The God who says, servants, obey in all things your masters according to the flesh. Okay, not with eye service as man, but in singleness of heart, fearing God. If she feared God, she would have stayed on the plantation and been a good slave all her life. If she followed this verse and feared God. But she didn't fear God. She rebelled against God, went against God. left the plantation, rebelled against her slave master, and demanded her freedom. So that leaves the question, which God Harriet was talking to? Could not have been the God of this Bible, because this was the God that was demanding her enslavement. This was the God that was keeping her enslaved. So how could she have been talking to the God that was keeping her enslaved? That makes no sense. So, what God Harriet was talking to? We know one thing for sure, that it was not the God of this Bible. If you ask me, I say that it was the God of Africa. The God, the great one, the almighty Amun-Ra. Yes, the same God who enslaved the Israelites. And the Israelites had to depend on their God, the God of Israel, Yahweh, to free them and to get them out of Egypt. Yes. See, some of you Negroes, you better recognize that this is a war going on. And you better recognize what side are you on. You better recognize who you are in this war. And you need to choose a side. But first you need to know who you are. Okay? And you're not the Israelites. You're not the followers of this Bible as the Hebrew Israelites try to convince you that you are. But you're not. You come from Africa. You are African. And we know from the Medu Neter, or the hieroglyphs on the walls, that Amun, the god of Africa, not just the god of Egypt, he was the god of Cush. He was the god of West Africa, or the god of Libya, the god of all Africa. We know that he was the god of the poor. When the poor and the weak needed help, they called on him, and he came through for them. But this was for Africans. Okay? Africans back in ancient times called on Amun. Amun-Ra came to the rescue for Africans in ancient times. So you need to recognize who you are in this war. And it's not a child of Israel. Okay? But that's dealing with gods. Okay? If you're going to call on the God, at least call on the right one. But let's continue. Okay? But it goes on to say in other scriptures, okay? Now these are the verses that the slave masters were teaching the slaves. Yes. Okay? We're going to go to 2 Peter chapter 2. No, 1 Peter. Okay? 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 18. He says, servants, be subject to your master with all fear, not only to the good and gentle, but also to the froward, which means a difficult person or a wicked person. Okay? It's saying, servants, be subject to your masters with all fear, not only to the good and gentle, but also to the wicked or the froward. Okay? So we see here in another verse saying, slaves or servants, be subject to your masters with all fear. Okay? Let's go to another one. And then that's going to be the end of that. Now, just a minute here, okay? Let's go to Titus. Titus chapter 2. Okay? Yes. Titus chapter 2, verse 9. Okay? And it says, Titus chapter 2, verse 9. Exhort servants to be obedient unto their own masters, and to please them well in all things, not answering again, not prolonging, but shewing all good fidelity, that they may adorn the doctrine of God our Savior in all things. Okay? For the grace of God that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men. So, and I'm going to end it there. Okay? But we see here that there's no way that Harriet Tubman could have been talking to the same God that demanded her to be a good slave and never rebel against her master. That's what it says. That's what it's saying. This was the same God demanding the slaves to be a slave forever, never to rebel against their master. Fear God. That's what it's saying. But Harriet Tubman, she went against God. She rebelled against God. And she defeated him. She got her freedom. Yes. And we also have to take into consideration that Harriet Tubman, she did not know how to read. She never studied the Bible. She had no knowledge of the God of the Bible. She had no relationship with the God of the Bible. So the God that was talking to her had to be a different God, or had to be the real God. Okay? Because me personally, I believe the God of the Bible is fake. I believe that God, the voice of that God, is the voice of a wicked and confused white man. Yes, a hypocrite white man. And I'm going to end it soon. But some of you may say, well, yes, God enslaves her, but the God Almighty also rescued her. He redeemed her. Well, that makes it even worse, because that means he's a hypocrite. Yes. It's like, hold up. You enslaved me for all these years? You had me in bondage, you had me suffering, but now you want to come to my rescue? Why you couldn't have freed me from the start? Why couldn't you have showed me that salvation or that kindness or that favor from the start? Why did I have to go through years and years of slavery all my life, and now you want to free me? That should make you even more angry, because that shows that he is a hypocrite God. Okay? That's like a husband with his wife. He keeps on beating her, slapping her around, and after he does it, he comes, oh, baby, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, baby. And then after that, he do it again. He slaps her and beat her again, then come back, oh, baby, I'm sorry. That's how it is with the God of this Bible. I mean, a hypocrite. Why be a hypocrite? You might as well be all the way wicked. That makes it even worse when you're a hypocrite. Why can't the God of the Bible be all the way good? Okay? Like I said, some of you better recognize who you are in this war. And it's not the children of Israel. Okay? You were enslaved under the children of Israel. The children of Israel had you in slavery. Just as I said in the previous video, when the Hebrew Israelite speaks of this kingdom of the children of Israel inheriting, and it shall have Hamite slaves, Egyptian slaves. Yes, you are those Egyptian slaves. And I haven't really broke that down to you yet, but yes, I will. But that's who you are. You're not the children of Israel. We're living in a different time. We're not living in the past. See, the Hebrew Israelites, they want to relive the past. They want to be the same Israelites mentioned in the Exodus. No, but that already came to pass. We're in America now. This is 2019. We're in America now. The Atlantic slave trade happened in the 1400s, 1500s, 1700s AD. Way after the Exodus. Okay? The Israelites and the Exodus. That's not you, black people in America. Okay? The Jews in 70 AD. That's not you, black people in America. That already came to pass. And the Hebrew Israelites want to tell this lie and try to relive the past and try to be something that they're not. We are Africans enslaved by white Christians who are the followers of Israel, who are the followers of the God of Israel, the slave God. Yes, the slave God of Africans. This God hates Africans. He demands the enslavement of Africans. And as we see, Harriet Tubman rebelled against the God of the Bible. She got her freedom. She defeated him. And when she defeated him, then he tried to come along like a slick little snake and say, "Oh, Harriet, we sorry. Yeah, you seen the white man, her white master talking to her. Come on back. We won't treat you so bad. We treat you good. Come on back and be a good slave." Okay? When she get the upper hand on the God, now he wants to come back and say, "Oh, I'm sorry." Now he wants to be a good God and send his followers. Just keep in mind, if ever a revolution pop off and we go to war with America, keep in mind that you're not going to war with some God. You're going to war with his followers. Yes, you're not going to war with the God of the Bible. You're going to war with his followers. The followers of the Bible keeps the God of the Bible alive. Yes, the more they entertain him, the more realer he becomes. He is real through them. But just imagine if nobody even entertained the Bible or even entertained the God of the Bible. He will be unknown. He will not exist. Okay? But the only thing that is real is us here. Okay? Africans being enslaved by European Christians. Yes, that's what's real. Has nothing to do with any gods or Bible, anything. We are real. And what's real was Harriet Tubman rebelled against the God of the Bible and rebelled against the followers of the God of the Bible. And she got her freedom. She had every right to do it. Okay? So black people, wake up. Know your enemy. Okay? Stop giving the credit to this Bible. See, every time when something good happens, every time when something triumphant happens, yes, every time when something good and triumphant happens, you want to give credit to the God of the Bible. Okay? Or enslavement. You want to link that to Israel. Even when the Black Panther movie came out, it was about Africa. It was about an African king, but you had these Hebrew Israelites trying to connect it to Israel. Trying to say that T'Challa and the Wakandas were Hebrews. Makes no sense. Everything good, they try to connect it to the Bible, give credit to the Bible and to Israel. You got to stop doing that. That makes no sense. Leave religion out of it. Because it was the same book that motivated and caused the enslavement of our ancestors. And now you want to give credit to the same book, okay? Now that some of you got free, you got prosperous, you want to give credit to the same book that committed the wrong to you in the first place. You Negroes are foolish, and you need to wake up. Okay? But as we see here, Harriet Tubman rebelled against the God of the Bible. She defeated him. And whoever that God was talking to her, it was not the God of the Bible. Because the God of the Bible was the one trying to catch her and get her back on the plantation so she can live her entire life as an obedient slave who fears God. That's all I gotta say. This is your brother Radio 1 coming back at you again with another video of truth and historical reality. Black people, wake up. Know who you are. Stop cooning. Say no to the Bible. Say no to Israel. The day when black people say no to the Bible is the day when black people will be free. Say no to religion. It is your enemy. This is your brother Radio 1. Until next time, Egypt stays in Africa. Stay tuned for more. Peace and Amun Ra.